Hey everybody, in a recent video where we did a game night and played Llama, we ran into a scripting problem midway through, and I wanted to make a video covering what that issue was and how to fix it. During the video, I suspected it was a deck GUID problem, and that actually is what's wrong. So the way Tabletop Simulator decks work is they are a deck until they have one card left. So we take a look right here. This deck is BD33C1 as far as its GUID goes. It's 56 cards. So if I very quickly type 54 on my keyboard to draw all but 2 of these cards, this will still be the same, BD33C1. Now, if I draw one more card, now it's going to be different, and that's just going to be the GUID of this card. So even if I were to take all of the same cards, oops, I missed the 4. And I put them back on this, and it doesn't matter if I did this on the top or the bottom. This GUID is now different. And if I did it again and put them back, it's going to be different every time. Just to demonstrate, so you can see there. So we're going to fix this by using scripting zones instead of a specific GUID on a deck. There are times as far as a setup goes where maybe you want to reference that, but most of the time, if you're manipulating cards, you want to use zones if at all possible. And he does have some set up. We're actually not even, you don't need this one at all, so we're not going to use it. Because I'm going to do the reset function differently as well. So realistically, I'm actually going to rewrite the whole mod, except for these counters, but it was only 2 functions, so it's not too bad. If you go under your zones and then go under here to scripting, you can see the scripting zones. If you click it, you can copy it, 85F23F. We don't actually need that because he does have that referenced over in his code. All right, so over here in VS Code, and I've been talked into using this instead of Atom or Pulsar. It's much better. Oh, I've already deleted a couple of things. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, in order to script anything, what we need to do is go back over to Tabletop Simulator. And you have to save. And I've got Fix Llama's folder, but I'll make another one. Llama YouTube. Create. Boop. We'll just save it. And then we'll load it. Now any scripting changes we make will actually not yell at us. It'll let us do it. So now back over here in VS Code. I did a little bit already. I deleted the global variable for the deck and the discard pile because, like I said, we don't need them. All we're going to use is this zone. And really, because this thing is so small, we could just reference this here in both of the other 2 functions instead of doing global equals global.getVar or whatever, which honestly I might just do because it's kind of silly. So we're going to take a look here first at his start game function, which lives on a checker that he put a button on. There's the button code. And it's going to use the deal, or I'm sorry, it's going to say deal. We're going to use start game function. But so really, this print statement, I don't feel you need it. Comment it out if you want to keep it. First thing we want to do though is grab the objects in the scripting zone. Or we want to grab. We're going to get the GUID. We're going to get the scripting zone object, is what I'm trying to say. So let's make a variable. Deck zone objects. This can be anything. I'm going to call it deck zone objects. And we want to get object from GUID. And in there, I am just going to pass it the GUID of the scripting zone. And we don't need this stuff. We can reuse those 2 thingies. So we need to loop. What we're going to do is loop through that scripting zone and look for things that are decks. And hopefully there's just one in there. So for loop, I don't care about the index. That's what the underscore means. And then this next thing can be anything, any word you want. I'm just going to call it thing in I pairs. And I've had it where I've spelled I pairs wrong and the compiler doesn't catch it. That is a real annoying thing to debug. So for don't care things in I pairs, we want to look at the deck zone, objects, .get, nope. I always am so eager to push tab. Get objects. And I'm going to need another parentheses because I killed mine. We want to do something. If thing.type used to be .tag, but that's depreciated, so use .type. Tag will work, but you might as well do it the right way. If the type of thing that we have found or that we've iterated over is a deck, then let's do something. And those things we want to do are these things. And this indentation's off a little bit. And then I need an end for my if. And is that? I need another one for the for loop. And okay, that looks good. And then if you do a Control-Alt-S, and then let me jump back over to Tabletop Simulator. And we go ahead and hit this deal button. Indexing a nil. What? Did it not take my Control-Alt-S? Give me a sec. Start. Okay, it seemed to. Let me jump over again. Deal. Why is that nil? That shouldn't be. Hold on. Where have I made a mistake? Deck zone. Oh, I see. I said we could reuse these bits of his code, but deck isn't anything. We're using things, not decks. So thing and thing. Now it'll work. Control-Alt-S and back to Tabletop Simulator. Yeah, you got to be super careful, but this should work now, so I should be blasting cards at myself. Now, that said, reset's busted still because, again, it's going to look for a deck GUID that is broken. So let's work on reset now, but the deal is working, and I can actually show you just, I mean, you saw us not referencing a deck GUID, but we're at 9C95F7. So, oops, if I just spread these cards, and then we grab them up, and we take a look, that's a different GUID. You can see 3C, the other one started with 9. Put this here and deal, and we're still getting cards. So now it is no longer dependent upon the GUID. It is dependent upon the deck existing inside that scripting zone. So if I put it over here, it won't work. So you could draw a box around this deck. But that's one done. Let's go back to VS Code. So a little bit more elegant there. And it will always work now. So we need to take a look at his other checker function. This one, he's got some debugging in here. So he was using deck.reset, which you do, it will pull, it'll reset a deck if the deck hasn't been destroyed, but because it got destroyed, this broke and everything else broke because it needed to know about that deck that no longer existed. So we want to, really we want to kind of get rid of all of this. We're going to start over. So let's go ahead and within our function, let's make a variable here, destination zone. So destination zone, what I'm going to do is instead of using deck.reset, I'm going to teleport all of the cards back to where the draw deck is positioned when you start a round. So we want to get the, we need to again reference the scripting zone of that. So we need to get object from quid and put in, do I still have it on paste? I think that's correct. So we want to be able to mess with that, and we also want the deck position. And that will be equal to the destination zone that we just made dot get position. And this should return a vector, which is what we're going to use later. Then we are going to just loop again. So for, and again, we don't care about the indexing of this loop. For objects, or we could do things again, or whatever you want in I pairs. Make sure you spell it right. We want to get all objects. So this is going to look at the entire play area. It's going to get all of the objects. And then we want to do something. So if you wanted, you could use this loop for other things, but specifically we're going to take a look again for cards. So if, if object dot type is equal to a card, or object type is equal to a deck, then let's do something. So something that you're going to want to do is when this is ripping cards from everybody, you want to make sure that they're all facing the same way, because in Tabletop Simulator, if you, here, let me actually just show you. If you have two piles of cards facing different ways and you stack them, it's going to make two separate decks. So if, here, I'll just use the cards in my hand. So there's 26 cards here and 30 here. If I place these 30 face-up cards on top of this 26, I still have a deck of 30 on top of a deck of 26. They're not marrying together, which is what you want. So we need to make, we have to check and see if they're face down. Let me get back to here. So we are looking for decks and cards, and if we find them, let's do things to them. So if our object dot is face down, and what that is doing is that's going to tell me the current thing it's looking at, is it face down or not. So if it's false, then I want to flip it. Object.flip. So that's that. And then I want to do object, forgot to spell object, set position, not get, I want to set. If you try set position smooth, it won't take the cards out of the player's hands. There are ways to kind of teleport the cards away from the player and then do a smooth movement, but this is just kind of a break fix video. This is not make it pretty video. So I am just going to, set position is just going to grab everything and teleport it. So we want to set the position as the deck position that we referenced up here. And that should be a vector, and this is looking for a vector, so we should be good there. And I need another, I think I need one more end. I think that is correct. And then we don't need any of this stuff. So I left the name the same, but and this should work. So let me jump back over to Tabletop Simulator, and Control-Alt-S is save and play, so it'll take the most recently loaded save and reload it with the scripting changes you've made. So I deal myself some cards, that's working. If I reset, it's busted because I'm probably spelled something wrong. So let me take a peek and see where I've made a blunder here. Let me see. What was the error? Just indexing a nil. Okay. Destination zone. Yeah, I like that. Objects turned into object. Sorry. And then back. No, it was always object. Okay. I wish the compiler would catch more of that, but it's not its job that I'm a bad programmer. All right, let's try it again. So let me deal myself some cards, and let's hit that reset button. And it works this time. So if I throw a bunch of cards all over the table, or, you know, if I split this thing into two, let's do it that way. And I take the top pack. And then let me give myself some cards, and I'll spread these out. Spread. Okay. And then I hit the reset button. It should grab all this crap from all over the place and just snap it back. So again, it doesn't look pretty, but it's efficient and it does work. So that will take care of all the issues that this mod had. Is if you cared enough about like tidying up, you know, you could get this zone editor, delete this zone, because it's not used. This is merely now just a player reference to put the cards here as a play target. But that's it. And that's pretty much all I've got to show you and say about taking care of the bugs with this one. And they weren't even really bugs. It was just bad practice, we'll say. Obviously, what the guy built worked. This just works better and should effectively just be impossible to break. Like I said, the only real thing you can do is move this deck, and then you won't be able to deal yourself any cards. So I will probably just publish this. I don't think a whole lot of people are clamoring for Llama, but I might as well, I suppose, so you can download it or whatever. If you have any questions, suggestions, comments, let me know. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, leaving a comment. Till next time, I'll see you.